Welcome to the Solopreneur Academy Podcast. This is a podcast for entrepreneurs who want to make more impact and income in less time. I'm your host, Megan, and throughout each episode, you'll learn how to create the lifestyle and legacy you want as you grow. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Solopreneur Academy Podcast. Today, we are going to be doing our third episode in the Increasing Summer Sales series, which is all about managing leads. Now, if you don't know what managing leads are, this is essentially DMs, how to get people to move from prospect to client in a message. Now, every episode in this series has a worksheet that goes along with it, and this is no exception. This one is going to be very important because you're going to be writing out some templates and getting ideas for what to say to people, along with a protocol that you can put into place. And I'm also going to include a place where you can actually write the times and the days that you want to go through this process. So you definitely want to make sure that you download this one in the show notes because it's going to be template heavy. Now, for you all, first and foremost, I'm going to talk about why people avoid managing leads and why you really need to focus on doing that if you want to take advantage of the summer surge. Even though we're towards the end of summer when you're listening to this live, I want to also talk to you about how to move people from just a conversation to a consult. And then last but not least, how to do this in a way that doesn't take over your entire life so that you're not on social media all day, all the time. So first and foremost, let's talk about the importance of direct messaging. Even though I am scaling to 1 million and you might just be starting out with your business, you need to still be sending DMs and learn this skill set because it's going to be applicable literally up into millions. Here's how I know this. What has happened recently is, and I spoke about this in the last podcast episode, is with the invention of AI, there are more bots now than ever. If there is a bot, algorithms from YouTube all the way to LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram are all trying to figure out how to actually keep people on the apps. I want you to think about the person who is a platform creator. The more time people spend on the apps, the more time they get paid ads. Those paid ads pay Meta or whatever the platform is, TikTok, whatever. And that is how a lot of times, how those companies actually bring in money for their businesses is by keeping people on the app for longer. So if we're thinking like a platform creator, what is going to keep people on an app longer? Is it going to be just seeing a post that keeps people engaged for like maybe 8 seconds? Or is it going to be a message that they have to actually think and respond to? The message. That is actually what keeps people on the apps for longer when you're thinking about what the algorithms will prioritize. So, and the other thing is, again, with AI, if you post and ghost, what happens a lot of the times is you are going to go through, and if you post and ghost, what happens is then it thinks that you're a bot as well. So it's like twofold. The algorithms will promote the people who are engaging with their audiences so that you will get more engagement if you engage. How many times can I say engage in this podcast? So, but that is the goal, right? So for me, even though I am doing paid ads and I'm actually trying to bring in paid traffic, in order for me to get more people from the paid traffic to convert to my organic and watch my organic content, and also for the people who are actually booking with me, because we are selling a high ticket product or we're selling a high ticket service, not a product, we need to build a lot of trust with our audiences. It takes people a little bit to get to know us, and especially if people are paying you thousands and thousands of dollars to get support, they need to feel like you actually know them before they're ever going to book a consult. there is a thing that people talk about, which I avoid doing the fear mongering because I just don't think it's useful at all. But when we're thinking about just reality, a lot of times when people are trying to consider where they're going to spend their money, a lot of times people might not have thousands of dollars saved for a service. And if we think about, there is this kind of frame where people are talking about what's called a trust recession. So I just want to address that really quickly before we get into like the actual strategy. So the trust recession means that people were buying things in the past and they might have had a negative experience with a service provider. They might have had less people that were actually like signing up to work with them. And that is kind of what we're experiencing right now. Now, within your business, so I'm not saying that people are not going to sign up to work with you because of this trust recession. I'm not saying that at all, but they need to see that you really care about them. Anyone can just post and ghost, but I want everybody that listens to this podcast to be the service provider that goes above and beyond, that you are taking that extra step to really get to know your people, to talk to them and engage with them. And even CEOs that I have seen that are doing high ticket services at the 8-figure level are still creating that individualized experience with their clients. And they are still creating that connection, that touch point. Even the people who I have done ads to, who I like have in my audience, if they get a DM from me, they are like, I think it's something like 83% more likely to convert than if they don't. 83%. And if you are thinking about making six figures for sure this year or in any time in the future, you want to make it statistically inevitable. And I use those words all the time to really hit home that you just want to make it as easy as possible for people to say yes and work with you. And by sending a DM, getting to know them, showing them you care is the best way to do that. And you don't have to do it by being scammy or weird or salesy when you're talking to people, which is why I wanted to do this episode to talk to you about how to actually bring in more people through the DMs. But you want to take them from conversation to consult. And that is what we are going to be talking about like today in this episode. Now, this is extremely important because if you want to get more sales before summer ends, we've got a few weeks left and you can use this whenever you listen to this. If it's not summertime, you can use this at any point. But just a shameless plug for summer, I'm going to remind you of what I said in the last episode, where 76% of people are on their phones more during the summer months than any other time in the year. And 68% of people are buying during the summer months more than any time in the year because they're doom scrolling, they see something they're influenced and they buy. So you want to be the person that people are buying from. You want to be the top of mind expert where even if they don't buy from you, maybe they refer a friend to you, right? So you want to be the kind of person that is top of mind in order to get these sales before summer ends. And especially if you're doing things like one-to-many sales, if you're doing things like webinars, if you're doing things like group programs, you really, really need to make sure that you are talking with your audience and that you know them. I like to think about it like a temperature check. Like I always want to know who's in my audience. I want to know who's paying attention, who's engaging. I want to create relationships with those people because then they usually convert. If I'm able to, if they're the right fit, obviously, like I've talked with people who sell products that I'm like, this is probably not a good fit. But for people who are online service-based entrepreneurs, especially solopreneurs, this is a perfect fit. Both of my programs are. So for them, for you, you want to be thinking about how do I move someone from a conversation to a consultation? Now that you know the importance of it, step two of this podcast is how do we move people forward? Now, when you are online, I know that you can feel scared to be spammy, to be salesy. You've gotten sold to by people before and you don't want to do that. And I don't want you to do that either, okay? So, what you want to do is you want to have kind of two categories in your brain that, well, three. technically. This is what I tell all my clients to do. They all have templates that they have for these three subsets of people. But you're going to have two categories that are referrals, which means that there are people that are going to think of you and send people your way. And then you're going to have another category of potential buyers. We call the two categories of referrals. I want you to think about them in a B2B sense. That just means when you see the words B2B, that's business to business. Now, within these referral categories, there's going to be businesses that are in your audience that you can collaborate with and they can become referral partners. And then there's also friends and family and acquaintances that are going to be following you. Pretty much 100% of your audience is going to fall in this category initially if you are just getting started posting. So, all the people that are in your audience, you are going to have these people that are friends and family. Let's talk about how to talk with them because I see a lot of people doing some weird stuff with friends and family, and we don't want to do that. Okay. So, and I did this too, by the way. When I first started, I was like, how do I engage with people online? And I was like, let's just talk to our friends and let them know what's going on. But it was weird. So for you, you want to be thinking about your friends and family as a referral source mostly. Now, are there people that are in your friends and family that might want to work with you? Absolutely. But if you think about it as looking at every person that is like in your social circle as a potential next sale, it can get weird real quick, right? So what you want to do, and this is where you see like the, hey girl, love your dress, buy my stuff. We don't love that for service-based sales. It can work with product-based sales, but it doesn't work with service-based sales because these people are going to be working with you for an extended period of time. They want to get to know you. They need to build trust with you. And it's a very different thing than just buying a one-off piece like mascara or something like that. So what you want to do is you want to go through and you want to have a template that you can customize for friends and family. And this is one of the times when I will say that copying and pasting can help people just to make it easier. So what you want to do is you want to have a message for friends and family. And the way that I like to do it is I like to say, hey, if you are new to business, you say, hey, I just started this business. If you are a seasoned vet, you want to say, hey, I've revamped my offer. I'm taking clients in the fall and I would love to talk with you. But that's what you want to do is you want to bridge the gap between this person and your service. We are not going to make assumptions that people know you and have, even if you've been posting for 7 years about your business. I remember I had this lady, this awesome friend of mine, she took yoga from me for years. And because I used to teach yoga at Core Power Yoga back in the day. It's actually how I got started with the coaching thing. But when I was working and teaching yoga, she would come to all my classes and she decided to start a life coaching business. It was like, hey, can I pick your mind about it? And I was like, absolutely. And we go to lunch and she was like, so how did you do this? And like asking me about like how I get started. And I was like, that's actually like what I do now. Like I actually am a business coach for a lot of times coaches for service-based solopreneurs. And she was like, oh, didn't even realize it. Literally scheduled a lunch with me and didn't even see that that was on my social media. So for you, you might think that you're talking about it till you're blue in the face, but there are still people that don't know. So you want to create this connection, this bond with people and talk with them about what you do. So what you want to do is you want to say, hey, don't know if you saw and put the person's name. I recommend to my clients to send a video where I'm like actually saying hi to them and a actual texted message too. And I'll just go on and be like, hey Leslie, it's like I hope things are going so well. Just a heads up, I don't know if you've been seeing my posts lately, but I have started a new I have two programs now. I have six-figure scaling and five-figure foundation. They're designed for service-based business owners. I'm also like targeting a lot of moms that are solopreneurs. So if you know of anyone who could use it, feel free to send them my consult link. I am taking more people over the fall. I've got a group that's opening up for the mastermind. And so if you know of anyone that could use this, here's a link to book. Otherwise, I'll keep you posted about future events. And I hope you're having an awesome week. But do you see how normal that is? And it's just talking with people and saying, hey, just a heads up, this is what I've got going on. If you have any questions, let me know. But it's Super, super simple. Now, I would say like 95 to 99% of people will not respond to this, and that's not the goal. Your goal in that first entry message is not to get people to respond to you. It's literally just to open the door, and then those people will see your content and you'll be top of mind if somebody needs you. You might get somebody to like it, you might get somebody to talk to you outside of it, but you need to go through, and that's how I would recommend sending the message to people. So you're going to go through and you're going to talk to people, and I'll talk about the protocol for that in a second. The next thing is you might have business owners that are trying to sell you something that are in your audience. And that's normal. That's totally fine. No big deal. I get some people that are so offended. They're like, oh my God, can you believe that they were trying to sell me something? Yes, we are all trying to sell people things. That is your purpose on social media. It's not to build friendships. I'm like, that's not my goal on social media. My goal is to get people to buy from me. So if people are trying to sell you something, great. We can utilize that to either, if it's a bot, neutralize it, engage with it, and then it shows the algorithm that you're still engaging. And people don't know how to send DMs. People can be really weird about it. You can show them a good way to do it, and they might even be referral partners for you later on if you do it right. But then the next template that you want to have ready to go is you want to have a business to business message. These are the three messages I have everybody in foundation and six figure scaling create is they have a business to business message. And I call them the three essential messages, and they actually put it in the notes section of their phone. So that's, again, we'll talk about the protocol in a second. But what you want to do with the business to business people, one of two things could be a possibility. If you're like in the mastermind and you actually want to collaborate with people and build your audience, and it seems like this is a viable person that is niche adjacent, which means that they have a business that doesn't compete with yours, it complements it. For instance, for me, a graphic designer, a website creator, a branding person, a photographer, a ads manager. All of those are really good niche adjacent partnerships for me. Certifications. We're both doing different things within our businesses that serve the same people. So what you want to do is you want to have a message for those people. And if they say, "Hey, do you want me to do your branding? Hey, do you want me to be your VA? Hey, do you want me to get you 100 followers?" Whatever it is, what I would recommend if you're at like you're just in the first stages of signing your clients, I would recommend saying something like, "Hey, I'm okay for now. No big deal. However, I do feel like we could be referral partners." Even if it's somebody that's trying to send you something that you have no interest in, what you can say is, "Hey, I'm okay, but I would love to be referral partners. Here's the link for my consult. I work with people for 6 months one-on-one and I do general coaching. If you know of anyone who could use it, please send this their way. And if you want to send me your link, I'll send it out to my people too." It neutralizes the message. It stops you engaging and wasting time with those people, but it also creates this awesome experience for them to be like, oh, maybe I do know somebody. Sure, I could send it over. Now, I will say again, 99% of the time, they're not going to respond or do anything with it. But the purpose isn't for them to do something with it. The purpose is to get the algorithm seeing that you're engaging with people so that then it knows that you're a real person and you don't get flagged as a bot and your posts don't get shown to people. Those are the two referral messages that you want to send. And you can think about it like a business to business connection for sure with the businesses, but you can even think about friends and family as like they know 300 people-ish each. Maybe they'll know of somebody that could work with me. But then the next category, which is a very important category, is the business to client connection. These are the people that are excellent fits for your business, or they're just randos that are following you that you're like, why did they follow me? This is so interesting. I don't know them at all. So we want to build a relationship with those people, and you don't want to be a creepy weirdo, right? You don't want to be like a person like, and here's what I mean by being a creepy weirdo. There are two ways that people go wrong with sending DMs to the people who are new followers that are potential clients. The first way I see people go is way too soft. And I want you to think about, and these are not my words, by the way, there's soft, medium, and hard touch points. Soft touch points means like small talk. Medium is asking for an opt-in, creating a relationship, even coaching and doing your service ahead of time, conveying the value. And there's hard touch points. With the soft touch points, I see people going way too soft and not even talking with people or asking them any questions at all. Okay, so I want you to imagine that you are actually talking with somebody in person, right? And an example of it, that's how I want everybody to think about doing DMs is like, what would I actually say to this person if they were standing right in front of me? It's going to help you to be less odd when you're doing these messages, right? So when you're sending a message to people, one of the things that I did when I went way too soft with my messaging before is I would go in and I would say, "Hey, thanks for following me. Let me know if you need anything. Bye." And it was so weird. Like I want you to imagine, and again, like if you're in like an actual storefront, sure, like you want to introduce yourself and then like you don't want to be like hankering over the person, like tell me everything about you, because that's weird. It's like an interrogation, not a conversation. We won't want that either. But you also don't want to just leave them hanging, like A, saying nothing to somebody who's a new follower. Can you imagine how awkward that would be if somebody walked into your physical storefront and you're just like, I'm gonna keep posting. I'm just waving, standing behind the counter smiling, but you don't actually say anything. You don't want to do that, right? But you also don't want to go so soft that like they don't feel safe or comfortable to actually talk to you about why they followed you in the first place. If there is a stranger following you from Instagram, there's probably a reason why, right? So you want to actually have a conversation with those people. The other thing that happens is within your business, you want to go through and you want to ask people questions. So I did that, by the way. I said, "Hey, I'm Megan. Let me know if you need anything," to 1,003 people, and nobody responded. Dumb. Shouldn't have done that. Now I know how to warm them back up. I know how to have a conversation again, but it was a waste of my time, talent, and energy for like a year. I said that. And I was like, wow, that was a waste. So don't do what I did. Learn from my mistakes and actually ask people a question. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to ask them a question. Now, we want to get to know them, but we don't want to interrogate them. So I want you to imagine if somebody walks into your store and you're like, "Hey, so nice to meet you. What are your deepest fears? What are your goals? What are your desires?" Now, goals is like kind of like a middle of ground one, but like if you're like, what is your deepest fear? What are all the things that you've tried that you have struggled with? Tell me what you're struggling with now, and I want to help you fix it. They have just met you guys. Like, think about like social norms. Like, you would never just go up to a stranger and just be like, "Tell me all of your struggles right now." Like, weird, right? You know what? No one would ever do that. And guess what? I've done it before and it's totally fine. I've just gone back in and been like, "Hey, that was weird, wasn't it? Like, let's make this better." But you want to go back in and you want to talk with people and get to know them. I want you to think about your niche and your subset. And again, this is something I do for all of my clients, is I have all of them think of what a closed-ended question is, and then they test it with at least 50 to 100 people. So they test that question and actually see if people respond. And if they don't respond, we change the question. But I want everybody that listens to this podcast to think of a question to ask these people that moves them forward. Now, what I like to do is anyone that's a new follower, and I mentioned this in the sales episode 121. If you guys want to go back in and listen to it, I think it would be really helpful for you. But every single person that follows me, every new person that's in my sphere, I actually go through and I imagine what it would be like for them to work with me. So I'll literally like look at their social media and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Julie is like clearly so kind and so brilliant, but this is not it." Like there are so many things that I would have her change. If she were to work with me, I would fix this, I would do this, and I would do this. What I want you to do, even as a general coach, even if you can only see their like tiny little profile page and they're private, I want you to take a look at them and I want you to come up with a vision for them that is better than anything they could possibly imagine. You won't be able to tell maybe if they've got a partner. You won't be able to tell if they have kids. You won't be able to tell if they have pets. You won't be able to know what their job is. But I want you to go out and I want you to start creating really amazing visions for people if they were to opt into your service. Okay. So, like for me, if I was looking at Jenna, I could look at her profile and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, so this is something I could help her with her marketing. Or like, let's say Jenna, I'm looking at Jenna's profile and I'm a general coach. And all I see is that she's got a dog and she posts about travel and she looks like she works in corporate and might have a partner, right? So I just look at Jenna and I'm like, well, why did Jenna follow me? Of all the people to follow me on the gram, why did she choose to follow me? And so I'll think about it and I'll start to like make a vision for her and I'll be like, okay, so I don't know if she wants to be like travel more, but I'm guessing probably. And I would love to help her to do that. I don't know if she wants to have a better relationship with her partner, but I can definitely help her with that. It looks like she's working full time, so I can definitely help her to get ahead in her career. Maybe she wants a better, maybe she's thinking about this next stage in life. It does look like maybe they're married, so maybe they do want to have kids. I can help her with that. So I go through and I create this awesome vision for Jenna that she will never most likely know about unless we like do a consult or something like that. But I will literally go through and just create this amazing vision for her. And then I ask Jenna a closed-ended question about herself, and as a general coach, this is where it gets a little bit harder. You have to come up with a good close-ended question that's not too forward. So you want to talk with them and you want to ask them a question. Like, let's say and what I have my clients do is they write thematically with pillars throughout the week. So they have like a different topic of the week. So you can ask them a question about the topic of the week. If you notice that they followed you on a certain week, you can ask them, like, hey, it's like, I thank you so much for following me. Really appreciate it. What it's like I know that was posting a lot about work-life balance. Are you currently working full-time or part-time? But do you see how that's a simple question? Like if you were to casually get to know somebody, you would ask questions like that in real life. And that's the same kind of energy you want to bring to your conversations online. So you want to be able to get conversations going like that. And she's like, yeah, like I work full time. The way that you move them from conversation to consult is you ask them about that job, about their career, and you say, okay, great, that's awesome. Where are you working now? I actually just went full time in my coach, but you want to build in shared vulnerability there, and you want to be able to share about things that are going on with you as well. Again, we don't want an interrogation, we want a conversation. So you say, oh my gosh, it's awesome. It's like, I love that you're working full time. Where are you at right now? Currently, I'm a full time teacher, but I also have my coaching business on the side. What do you do? And you see how I'm sharing about myself. So it's not like an interrogation. We're getting to know each other. We're having a conversation. And then I'm asking a question. I'm asking questions about her life. I'm asking her questions about specific things. Then she's like, oh, I'm working full time at Cisco. I work in HR there. And I'm like, okay, that's awesome. I was like, well, it's like, I also saw that you travel a bit. Like, I want to know a little bit more about like, and again, like because they opted in to follow you, you can ask them some questions that are specific to their lives that are a bit of a medium touch point. You can ask them more deep and in-depth questions. And again, if you want to get sales before summer, you want to be building this relationship, you want to get to know them and what their goals are, what their aspirations are, but you don't want to start out like that. You want to like build up to that. And then also, I'm going to do another podcast episode. I'm like making a mental note to like be like, if you don't have followers, what do we do? Like, how do we actually like create conversations with people? And I'll talk to you about that too. But this is just if people have opted into following you. The thing that I think a lot of people avoid having DMs and conversations is if they feel like it's not consensual, which of course we want to be really consensual with your marketing. You want to make sure that it's like you are actually having a conversation with people that's productive, but you don't want to just go super, super soft touch points. You just want to actually move them forward to a consult. So you can be like, okay, awesome. And it's like, again, I know that you started following me on like the work-life balance week. Do you feel like I know that for me, balancing, building a business, traveling, going through and also trying to start my business was really challenging. So I actually had this, I figured out there was this tool called like the implementation matrix that's been really helpful for me. What kind of things, it's like, is work-life balance something that you're like looking for more of this year? And then you can ask, and if she's like, yeah, like we're trying, it's again, I've been traveling. We're actually thinking about settling down sometime soon. And I know I definitely want to be a parent. So I'm definitely looking for more work-life balance and be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. We're looking to be parents too. I Here's this implementation matrix. I did a post about it like 2 weeks ago, but this could be really helpful for you if you're trying to like kind of like get things settled down before like you guys end up having kids. I know another priority for us is that we wanted to save up for a house and buy a house. Is that something that you guys are thinking about doing too? This is something I do with my clients as well. But do you see how I'm seeding in? Here's a tool that can be helpful for you. Let me send it your way and let me ask more follow-up questions that get you to talk to me about your problems and why we would really be a good fit to work together. But a lot of times people will be like, did you use the implementation matrix worksheet? Did you do this? Are you actually like following the things that I'm asking you to do? And then that feels weird and punitive, and it's like not actually creating a conversation. So you want to go through and you want to say, hey, here's what we're doing. We're having this conversation. I'm asking you about things that are valuable to you. It's like, this is again, as a coach, this is something that I had to figure out. I was totally in your shoes. Here's something that helped me. Are you struggling with this too? Okay, yeah, no, it's like, especially like, I know that like when we were in that like like deciding that we wanted to have kids phase, that was definitely on our minds about like saving up and making sure we were ready for a home. I know that like that's one of the reasons why I started my business. Are you looking to bring in some more income this year? I know something I help a lot of my clients with is getting promotions and things like that. Is that something that you're thinking about doing too? So I'm asking questions, giving feedback, helping, sharing vulnerability. We're creating this conversation. And on average, there was a rule that Google came out with in 2025 that said there were 7 hours of content, 11 touch points, and 4 different locations to see and hear from you. So when you're thinking about that, the more you engage with this person, the more you're going to make posts that are relevant to them. And then you're going to go through and you're going to be able to get them into your audience. They're going to be engaging with your content. They're going to be like, wow, this person is insanely valuable. And I want you to be the most valuable person in their inbox. I want you having really clear and good, helpful conversations with them. And then you're going to go through and you're going to be like, okay, awesome. Like, we've had these conversations. I know that your goals are to get a promotion, have kids, create better work-life balance. Based on these things that you've told me, I don't know if we're considering hiring a coach this year, but I do feel like I could help you to do all of those things. Typically, I work with my clients for 24 sessions and we meet weekly so that we're just like talking about, okay, like here are all the things that are on your mind. Here's how to get a promotion here. And you'll know when you're talking with people about their goals, you'll be like, they'll talk more about the things that they desire. So you want to definitely double down on the things like if you bring up promotions, they're like, yeah, kind of, maybe I can't really get promoted, drop it, move on to something else, right? But then you want to like be like, hey, it's like, I know you're thinking about having kids within the year. There's quite literally no pressure. If they like are like, yeah, we like really want to have kids, we're like getting ready for that like next stage. You want to make sure that you're doubling down on that conversation with them and you're like, okay, great news. It's like, I know that you want to have kids within the year, and I found that to get me ready for kids, coaching was really, really helpful. There's quite literally no pressure at all, but if you want, we could do a complimentary consult. It's just like a free 1 hour call that I do with people where we talk about where you are now, where you want to be 6 months from now, and if working together through December would be a good fit for you. Let me know if you want to book some time this week. Here's a link to book a consult just so that I don't forget to tell you about it. And if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll definitely reach back out about other things. So I go for that hard touch point. I actually send them the consult link, but I also leave an opener like, otherwise, I'll keep you posted about future things. But that is a way that you can go through and not be salesy and weird. You've had like 11 interactions with this person. You're talking with them. You get to know their struggles. You know that what they're striving for. You know that you could support them. We just want to serve them and offer them support if they want it. If not, then they might ghost you and they might be like, okay, we're not responding. Then we go back to soft touches. And then you do a post about like pre-kid prep, 3 things you need to be thinking of before you have kids. And then you send that their way and be like, hey, it's like, I know that it's like no worries about the consult. There's no pressure at all. But I did this post the other day and I felt like it would be really helpful for you. I actually like it's like one of my clients just got pregnant and I made this post for them and I thought of you. I forget, when are you thinking about having kids again? And then you reopen the conversation, right? So you build in a natural connection point and then you go back to the soft, medium, and hard. And it's a cycle. So you want to be doing that with your people, and that's how you really move people from content to consult. Now, if you're like, that sounds really good, but I feel like I could be on my smartphone all day, and I do not want that. I want to have work-life balance as an entrepreneur. Guess what? I've got a process for you. So you've got these 3 messages now. You've got the friends and family referral message, you've got the business to business referral message, and you've got the business to client B2C for the new follower message as well. What do we do from here, right? The next thing that you want to do is you want to schedule time for this during the week. And what I recommend to my clients is 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the evening. And the goal is to talk to 5 to 10 people, 5 for foundation, 10 for scaling. And what they do is they engage with those people. They try and go as fast as they can, hit as many people as they can in those 30 minutes, set a timer, and then they leave. If you do not hit everybody, guess what we do at 30 minutes at the end of the day? You respond. Okay. Now, the goal is at that beginning of the day time is you're actually talking with new people. You might have 50 DMs in your inbox and you want to ignore those people for the time being, unless there's like somebody that like really needs and wants to talk to you and you want to message new people. You always want to have new conversations going. You want to be building, and I call it like lead generation time or nurturing lead time. So I have my clients, depending on their schedules, I customize like a plan for them, like an outreach plan. And they, depending on like the size of their audience, depending on their needs, we choose what they do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If they only work Monday through Wednesday, we customize the plan for them then. But what we do is then they message people and we choose who to talk to, what to say, when to say it. They might be doing friends and family Monday. Tuesday, they do referrals. Thursday, they do business client. It really depends. And then they have that 30 minutes of responses at the end of the day. They typically go a little bit faster. Again, I say to go for 10, but usually the responses are a little faster because you're just like messaging and responding. But that's the way I do it. So I'm not glued to my smartphone. This means that a lot of times as you get bigger, you might have like 60 messages that you need to respond to at the end of the day, and you get through as many as you can in a 30-minute time frame, and then you let it go. You leave it, you say, guess what? We've got another 30-minute time slot tomorrow. We will respond to these people eventually, but that's the way that you can protect and have boundaries on your time, and then not go in and feel like every second of the day you need to be on social media. You can, and the mastermind, I actually have them track it in a spreadsheet, but just in foundation, or if you're just listening to this podcast and just trying to sign a few clients, just worry about like getting those messages out there, talking to people. If you can do it twice a day, awesome. You might just have it in one time a day. I tell my clients to adopt what I do completely, adapt it or abandon it, and we come up with a new strategy. But those are the things that I would do to manage leads to make sure you get some sales before summer ends. Now, make sure you download the worksheet using the show notes, and I will see you in the next episode so soon.
Did you know that 89% of people need to see a testimonial in order to buy? Get my free testimonial template using the link in the show notes, and you'll see exactly how I used testimonials to market my business as it grew to $120K in my first year full-time and multiple 6 figures every year after that. Thank you so much again for listening, and I can't wait to see you on the next episode of the Solopreneur Academy Podcast.